Last week, I brought you an observation about and a response about Kelly Hogan's interview with the doctor, they spoke about a friend of Kelly Hogan's having a heart attack on the carnivore diet. And it was worth noting in the comments that a lot of people said there was an elephant in the room nobody was talking about. And that was you remember back to the year 2020 and the thing that shut down all of civilization, and then the thing they coerced most people to try to accepting, and then there were a whole host of unintended consequences. Unintended, right? So that was the elephant in the room. But it was pointed out by the doctor she was speaking with that there was a possible cause that was more mundane and one that affects every single person here, and that is mold in the environment. So we're going to talk today about mold. And I did a bit of research on this, and it's a rabbit hole you can go down. The effect of mold in the house. So I'm going to just do this real quick here. I looked at one 2003 peer-reviewed study that was called Effects of Toxic Exposure to Molds and Mycotoxins in Building-Related Illnesses. This is a peer-reviewed study. You can go find links to it on some of these kind of websites. It's better if you have access to some of the university-based subscription required access to databases to do this. But there were some rather startling effects that they found in these peer-reviewed studies for the effect of mold on human health. See how many of these sound familiar to you. Blood abnormalities, brain abnormalities, neurological abnormalities, heart damage, respiratory infections, nervous system dysfunctions of various kinds. That was quite the list that you had on the screen there, wasn't it? That's just the tip of the iceberg. It really does turn out that mold can be seriously damaging to your health. And it does start to get me wondering, are a lot of the reasons that some people don't have success on the carnivore diet at all, aside from carbohydrate addiction, and the withdrawal symptoms of trying to quit sugar, something we've all gone through, aside from that, or basic willpower, is one of the reasons people are having trouble when they're looking to cure in their life through a carnivore diet. Is it because of the mold that might be in the house that they're not aware of? Or, frankly, a lot of us, myself included, we don't keep as neat of a house as we would like. And is there something to that might be the main cause of your woes on this way of eating? That you spend 3 months following Dr. Baker's advice or Dr. Berry's advice or whatever, and you find yourself after 3 months without much change. You've lost a few pounds maybe, and that's it. Whatever ailment you're trying to deal with hasn't been cured, or at least hasn't gotten better. There hasn't been noticeable improvement. How many times do you see that in social media groups like on Facebook or elsewhere, where people report they're having trouble, and what's not happening is what seems to have been promised for most people? Let's go over some more of this. You go to a 2009 peer-reviewed study in the Journal of Nutrition and Environmental Medicine, found the following as the result of the effects on mold and health. Here's from the results section. Quote, many studies link exposure to damp or moldy indoor conditions to increased incidence and or severity of respiratory problems, such as asthma, wheezing, and rhinosinusitis. Stachybotrys produces trichothecenes and other mycotoxins which can inhibit protein synthesis and induce hemorrhaging disorders. Indoor mold exposure can alter immunological factors and produce allergic reactions. Several studies have indicated that indoor mold exposure can alter brain blood flow, autonomic nerve function, and brain waves, and worsen concentration, attention, balance, and memory. Failure to perform the appropriate objective evaluations on patients may account for the commonly held belief that indoor mold exposure poses no significant health risks to immunocompetent humans. End quote. Basically, there's this prevailing wisdom that most people, mold's not that big of a deal for. Maybe it'll trigger your allergies, but that's about it. But the studies are pretty serious on this. Well, I turned here a mold control health website, which found this startling. It's a little longer quote, but this is startling. Quote, in healthy individuals, exposure to mold typically causes only minor symptoms, and those are often respiratory in nature, a runny nose, a cough, sneezing, maybe a sinus infection or bronchitis. There are always exceptions, and even previously healthy folks can become seriously ill due to mold exposure, but those with pre-existing health problems are at greatest risk. Let's pause before I go back to that quote. Those with pre-existing health problems are at greatest risk. Who goes on a carnivore diet again? Aside from people like me who did it because of obesity, who else goes on the carnivore diet? Those who have pre-existing health problems, and they're the greatest at risk for mold. Folks, we're going to go back to the quote here in a second because it doesn't get any better. But if you're having problems, if you are relatively new to a carnivore diet, or you have somebody in your life who is relatively new to a carnivore diet, tell them to take care of the mold in their house. Or send them this video. I wouldn't mind the clicks, but one way or the other, communicate to them the need to deal with the mold in their house. It might actually take care of some of their problems. It might be why they're not having the progress they expect to see on a carnivore diet. Let's get back to this quote. Organ damage, including damage to the heart, occurs when the immune system is unable to fight off a mold-related infection. Infection can travel through the bloodstream and affect one or more of the body's vital organs, including the heart. Sometimes a widespread infection occurs, affecting many body systems at once, a condition known as sepsis. High fever is usually present along with other symptoms. Mold can cause a number of heart problems, which is the inflammation of the heart muscle, endocarditis, an infection of the lining of the heart, damage to the heart muscle, and damage to the heart valves. While most types of mold can lead to heart problems, a few types are known for being particularly dangerous in this regard, including Aspergillosis, Pasolomyces, and Phylomophora. Symptoms of heart inflammation and other heart problems may include a fever, fatigue, dizziness, headache, shortness of breath, chest pain, neck and shoulder pain, fainting, achy muscles, and swollen, painful joints. If you are experiencing heart problems due to mold, you may also be experiencing respiratory problems like coughing, sneezing, a runny nose, sore throat, and itchy, watery eyes. Of course, heart trouble is more serious than a cough or a runny nose, and if you experience symptoms of heart problems, you should see your doctor right away. Prompt treatment may prevent permanent heart damage. And then it goes on to tell you that you should check in with your doctor. If you have any of those symptoms, call 911, those kinds of things. Generally good advice. But do you see now why it might actually be correct that this person had heart problems because of mold in the house? It's one plausible explanation. The other plausible explanation is you eat the standard American diet for most of your life, and it could take the possibility of a heart attack could be something that you simply live with for a long time before your body can heal. That is another plausible explanation. I'm curious what you think. Do you think people who are struggling on the carnivore diet, having all these kind of immunocompromised issues that they're dealing with, do you think it could be because of this? Let me know in the comments, please. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. It certainly does help. So does sharing this on social media. That helps too. And I'm Anthony Stine, the Practical Carnivore. Thanks for your time today.